Hi, my name is Rachel Orgel, and I'm going to be talking about what it means to keep moving forward while pursuing your goals. So, for me, this became a really surreal thought when I was working on my MBA program and I got extremely sick. It started pretty suddenly. I had a surgery, and then soon after, I started getting all these crazy symptoms. I couldn't swallow, I really couldn't eat anything. I dropped 40 pounds within a month. My left eye was extremely low and droopy to the point where I really couldn't see out of it. I couldn't walk. I started to get really faint and dizzy every time I stood up, and I was just in and out of the ER for a few months. I'm going to say like 2 months. And they kept misdiagnosing me. They were saying, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. And throughout that time, the first month or so, I lost about 40 pounds. And I had different procedures, and nothing really worked. I was bedridden. And during this time, I was still working. I was doing my MBA program. I was taking prerequisite courses. And I was just trying my best to really live my normal life while I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And in about 3 months, after a few misdiagnoses, a few procedures, being really just the unhealthiest and just the most miserable I've ever been in my life, to be quite honest, I ended up finding out that I had cancer. The type of cancer that I had been diagnosed with was called Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it was a blood cancer. But the interesting thing is that my blood had always came out perfectly fine. So during this time, I was just I've always been extremely driven, but I was more so focused on building my future. I had just gotten, well, I was working two part-time jobs at the time. I had just gotten one that I was like, wow, this is going to really help me given the experience that I need for my future career. And all of a sudden, I just really had to shift my focus onto survival mode. I was physically exhausted. Like I said, I really couldn't walk 2 feet to the restroom. I was bedridden. My family was extremely worried about me. Everyone was so concerned. And I really didn't know if I was going to live or pass. And it was a very surreal time. It was extremely hard, and it was something that has changed me forever. Soon after my diagnosis, of course, I began chemotherapy. And my thought process behind this was definitely like, okay, it can't get any worse. And although chemotherapy was physically, mentally, emotionally exhausting and draining, it did help me get better. And there were days where I felt like I couldn't get out of bed. But even doing so, even doing that, was an accomplishment in itself. And I realized I need to give myself grace, and I need to be just as compassionate with myself as I try to be with others. Yet, during this time, I was still doing my master's program. I was trying to work. I was trying to finish my prerequisite courses. Thankfully, I was able to do that, and now I just finished chemotherapy about a month ago, and I am set to graduate with my master's in about a month or so. But overall, I was facing the loss of a job, I was facing financial insecurity, worried about my health, thinking, okay, am I going to survive this? Physically feeling absolutely just exhausted and just really tired to the point where I didn't even want to speak. So just the fact that I kept on track of my academics was, now that I look back, the biggest achievement I could have done, and something I'm extremely proud of and gracious that I had the opportunity to do so, given the fact that I had my family supporting me the entire time and great friends to be there for me. But just one thing that I have to say is that people tend to be more graceful with others when they need to be more graceful with themselves. And even though things were so unclear and I didn't know what was ahead of me in my future, I learned how to manage my health, to manage my just my mentality, really just try to be as positive as possible and just ensure that I was in the right headspace. And regardless of what struggles and what unfortunate events you may go through, you just need to understand that things happen to everybody, unfortunately. And even though these things may be horrible and may feel like the end of the world, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And watching my family worry about me was definitely the worst part of it all. But with everything, they gave me the strength and motivation to keep going, not just for me, but for them. So I, despite everything, was like, okay, I'm going to stay committed to my education. I'm going to stay committed to being this driven person that I've always been. And like I said, I continued my master's during chemotherapy, during the absolute lowest point in my life, and I prioritized and I pushed forward regardless of how overwhelming things felt. And this experience changed me for the best. Like I always say, these moments of adversity build character, and they make you realize that you can't lose focus, that things always happen, unfortunately, and progression isn't linear, but sometimes even the smallest achievements are huge and they matter. And it's one of those things where you just have to keep going and you have to be focused and you have to be just thankful and determined and be gracious to yourself. Overall, I just realized how resilient I really am, and how, like I said, everyone has a deeper sense of purpose. You just have to find it and realize, like, you're worth it at the end of the day, and putting your positive foot forward and just being more understanding and realizing that even the small things matter. Like I said, the smallest achievements are still achievements. And today I'm still moving forward. I'm continuing to pursue my goals with gratitude and determination, and just truly appreciating all the hard work that I've put into not only my personal life, my health, my work, and my, of course, education. So overall, I just think the scholarship would help me and take me to the next step and allow me just to build my future, and I would really, really appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to even apply for the scholarship, and I'm extremely grateful. And I feel like it's fitting for me given that I've been able to be pretty prosperous through such difficult times. And I am just thankful that I've gone through it, and I understand that people go through worse, and it's just one of those things where I myself I wouldn't change anything, honestly. I think moments of adversity build character, and it's one of those things where I'm not the person that I was before, and I'm forever grateful for the experience, even though it wasn't the best experience. But I know the person I am, and I know this experience has taught me that I want to help people in my career, in my personal life, and just every aspect that I can, whether that be just showing people that, yes, I am driven, but I'm also understanding and compassionate, and I have morals, and I'm respectful, and I want to do things the right way. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Bye.